Yo everyone, we are here with Donald. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, yeah, I'm Donald Smith. I'm a game designer on Clash Royale. People know me as the balance guy. I do quite a bit more, but that's who I am.
So he is literally the main person who does all the balances for the most part in the game right now. So how have you been enjoying the event so far?
Oh, the CRL's been amazing. The games are so intense, so close. It's cool to see some cards, for better or worse, I guess, seeing play, like cards that I've helped design and balance.
Right. Goblinstein.
Yeah, Goblinstein.
Every set, right?
Yeah, Ram Rider, P.E.K.K.A, Evo Mega Knight, the usual.
Right, okay, so actually, let's talk a bit about balance. I guess first and foremost, since you were working as a designer before Clash, right, at another company, so like, how did you get into game design?
Before this, I was a game designer in Magic the Gathering in Seattle. They kind of hired me because I used to be a pro player at that game.
Yeah.
And then I got hired on as like a competitive play tester, and then from there, transitioned into just like more general game design role. And then one day Supercell called me up and.
So they reached out to you, they wanted you.
Yeah.
Let's go. So you made a big name for yourself.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, and then I guess, what's your principles when it comes to balancing cards in Clash in general? Just however you can talk about it or what you want to...
It's a big question, and there's a lot to talk about, but like I guess overall it's a lot of people like laser focus on stats and stuff, but I think the approach needs to be more like in a game design way. Like I think it's important to like, it's less about like, oh, is this card too strong or not, and it's more about like, is this card too frustrating or something like that. So I think of it more of like strength relative to how fun it is. So if a card's really strong and it's really fun, then that's fine. You could even think of like Ice Spirit kind of in this vein, where like Ice Spirit is very strong, but it feels like such a core part of Clash Royale.
Yes.
And that's why I don't think it like really deserves a nerf anytime soon.
Right.
But
I see people asking for an Ice Spirit nerf for sure.
I think
Cycle and everything.
It might get to that point where it's maybe too strong, but like I don't think like Ice Spirit should ever like leave the meta, for example.
Yeah.
Because it feels like it kind of holds the game together. And like Knight's another decent example. Again, like I know like maybe it needs a nerf eventually, but like it's also just like it's not that annoying of a card at the end of the day. But just talking about the base,
like the meta, right? Like just a basic mini tank that fits in different cycles.
That so many decks could play. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I approach it, and then obviously when there's like when Evo P.E.K.K.A got the nerf, it's like, well, yes, it was very strong. It's also really annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I know people are like,
it still is to this day, honestly.
And I know people are feeling that way with like Ram Rider right now, for example, and a couple other cards. So that's I try to look at more from a game design perspective, and not the stats help inform that, but it's not like the full picture.
Okay, so can we expect to see some P.E.K.K.A, Ram Rider, nerfs coming soon, or?
So I just. I was in Vegas for the last week, and then now I'm here. So I'm still like recovering from vacation, and like it's like next week my work begins again.
Okay, that's fine.
So I don't want to say anything because it's just like I've just been kind of like I've been on vacation, so
understandable.
I need my breaks too.
Yeah, for sure, you deserve it. So then, obviously, me being an Expo player, I had to ask, like, what are your thoughts on the Expo as a card, and like? Yeah, overall balance perspective of it.
So like admittedly, like I just started at Supercell in February, so like 8 months ago or whatever. I lost count, but and I also admittedly don't have like the biggest history with Clash Royale. Like when they reached out to me and when I wanted the job, I started playing a lot, grinding, and like I tried to go from a casual player to as competitive as I can be.
Of course.
But I know Expo has like a lot of history that I don't have the full context of, but just in general, like what I really like about Expo is like there's so many dedicated players to it, and I think it's really cool and really important when a game has like, even though it's a small percentage of people that use it, it's like the people who use it are like super fans, basically, like you, right?
Yeah,
you just make Expo videos,
for life,
and that's like actually a very powerful thing to have in a game.
Yes. could say the same for like Hog 2.6.
Yeah,
Log
Hog, Log Bait. Yeah, like these are like iconic, even if they're not always the most popular.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Expo specifically, the danger is like all y'all games last 5 minutes.
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like I want it to be part of the game, but it's I would never want Expo to be as popular as Hog, because like that would just make the experience a lot more miserable for everyone else.
So you think the 5-minute games is a bad thing to have if every game goes to that?
Yeah, I think it's like consistently a 5-minute game is a bad thing to have. Like Minor, Poison, Expo are very liable for this. So like but I think it's important that it's a thing. Like I wouldn't want to just like cut the game time or like make every game last 3 minutes.
Yes.
Because I think it's important that there's like strategic variety in Royale. But then it just has to be managed of like, you know, the extreme ends of both like 5-minute long games and also like 1-minute long games with like Elixir Golem decks.
Yeah,
where they
just win in the first push.
Yeah. So those need to be like very niche parts of the game, but they still need to exist so that, because otherwise, you know, if no game went to 5 minutes, why is it even a 5-minute timer? You know.
Okay. So then I guess I have 2 balance ideas for Expo. I want to hear your thoughts on it. So number 1, I think the biggest downside of Expo is the fact that it just doesn't really get much value, since it just dies to spells and it doesn't break through if you can just stall it. For example, my biggest issue, like 2.6 Hog, Ice Golem opposite lane, tanks about 1/3 of an Expo. They just stall you out forever, you don't do damage. So I would give it like a tiny, maybe 3 to 4% damage buff. That's one thing I would do. That would maybe not change many major interactions, like killing skeletons in different hits, but just make it a bit better on offense. Or I would do like a slight deploy time buff, so that, or I guess you would decrease the deploy time, so that if you're punishing someone being low on elixir, they can't react as fast, like say 3 or 3.5 seconds instead of 4. What are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, when it comes to just these like raw damage things, that's just like, I'd have to go dig into the interactions and this and that.
Okay.
But like for balances, I actually like doing damage and HP buffs and nerfs as like kind of the last option. I like to think more in terms of like the core design of the card, and what I kind of want to think is there a way to make like it easier to break through Expo, but somehow make the deck as a whole less defensive?
Okay.
So I don't know what that would be. Like maybe this is a terrible idea, but like for example, what if it got like a more significant damage boost, but like the lifetime of the card was just like cut by like 10 seconds or something?
I find it funny because that's what they did last time. You know, it was 40 seconds lifetime down to 30, and I found it to be a net nerf because you could just easily defend it. They might make it more offensive, less defensive, but I guess maybe if you do it in a different way, it could be different. I mean, the last time I got a balance was I think 2021 December or 2020 December even with that rework. So it was like a long history, I guess. Yeah,
and that's where I'd have to I need to like draft up proposals and then like go to like you, Hunter, Aragon, all these like Expo players, and like because I'm not an Expo expert. I'm not even like the best Clash Royale player, so it's like I don't know really the impact on this, but like I wish there would be like more things where it's like, oh, when you get like an Expo lock, like it'd be easier to get the lock on, but it wouldn't be so like I win the game or I just have to defend for 5 minutes. Just kind of more like a normal card where it's more about like getting chunks of damage at a time instead of, because I guess maybe I'm wrong, but for me it feels like you try to like defend all game until you get one lock. Yeah. And then you get the damage lead, and then you just defend all game again.
One lock is all I need. That's what some people say. I mean, that's fair, honestly. But okay, if we ever had an Expo evolution, would you have any ideas for that as well?
No, I mean...
Do you think that would even be a thing, or is it too controversial that we won't even see it for maybe like 2 years from now?
Yeah, that's hard to say. Kind of with the evolutions, I've been trying to like scale back a bit in a way of like... So like, I think Expo, and then I'm also thinking of a card like Goblin Drill and Electro Dragon. Like, these cards already have so much like baggage to them that they already feel like an evolved card in a way. Like you play them a very specific way, and they have like these like somewhat unique mechanics. So I've been trying to think evolutions more in terms of like the simple cards, like, you know, like historically we've had cards like Knight and Archers. They're so basic, and then, you know, I'm like, well, there's still a lot of cards like that, like I just think of cards like,
Minions,
minions, mini P.E.K.K.A, baby dragon, like these types of cards. I'm like more. So yeah, I've been trying to go back to the basics in a way and be like, what are like the simplest cards in Clash Royale? And I think those deserve evolutions. Like in the short term.
Yeah.
So we went crazy with these like goblin drills and mega knights and stuff, and I think it's time to like reel it back.
Okay. And I guess, what is your favorite deck in Clash? What do you play?
Yeah.
I think I know, but I just want to.
Yeah. My main deck is Recruit Hogs. So. Yeah, that's just it. I
judgment-free zone right now, guys. Let's not say anything.
I like matching up against Expo, I'll tell you that.
Okay, yeah, for sure. That's fair. Okay. And then I guess last question I had was, since you're a big part of the future of Clash with its balance and everything, do you feel good and positive about the outlook of Clash for maybe the next year or a few years? I'm just trying to think about the game's longevity and health. I think it was in a pretty low spot, but this year it's actually been going up and recovering a bit with nice, not only balances, like I feel like every balance you've done has been on point. Just gets slightly distorted by new evolutions or new cards, but I feel like generally the state we've been going with Clash is going uphill for the most part. And like, how do you think the outlook of the game looks for the next couple of years, maybe for its foreseeable future?
Yeah, I'm excited about like the momentum we have. And yeah, it's just like it's such a big game, and there's like such big shoes to fill, but it's just like I'm just trying to like every day or every week just get like 1% better and move it like 1% more in the right direction. So I'm optimistic, but also the reality is like things take time, especially for such like an old entrenched game. That I can't just like snap my fingers and make everything perfect immediately. It's just like that's not the reality.
It's a long term.
So I'm excited, but it's like it will also take time,
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Well, okay, I guess we'll call our interview there. It did end up becoming more of an interview than a vlog, but it was a lot of fun talking to you, man. So thank you so much for like making an appearance, I guess.
No problem.
Your thoughts, and I hope to see you around here.
All right, thank you.